What's up, losers? I am Luke, and this is Luke Loses. Now, when I say loser, I say it with love, as a term of endearment, because we are losing the weight, losing the unhealthy lifestyle, and losing the negative image of ourselves. I do not have any fitness or nutrition education. Everything I talk about here is from asking people questions, searching the internet, and my own personal experience. You can contact me at lukeloses@gmail.com. You can also follow my weight loss progress on Instagram at luke.loses. Feel free to message me there with topic ideas, concerns, or even give me tips on weight loss. Let's get into it. Welcome to episode 4 of Luke Loses. Today I have a special guest. His name is Adam Bartasis. He is the host of the YouTube channel Fat to Chubby. The recording software that he and I used today had a couple technical issues. I really hope it doesn't mess up too bad, but it is what it is. We are learning. So, all right, here we go. All right, so on today's episode, I have a special guest. He is a former fat guy, and now he is just chubby. His name is Adam Bartasis. I believe I'm saying that right. I'm probably wrong, but
you got it, man. You nailed it.
Awesome. So he is the host of Fat to Chubby on YouTube, and I'm in a Facebook group where I posted a question asking people if they'd be interested in coming on and telling my story, and Adam said he would be down, so that's how him and I met. So, Adam, go ahead and introduce yourself if you'd like.
Sure. Adam Bartasis, former fat guy, now a proud chubby man. I'm down 80 pounds, and I'm just here to spread the word, spread the gospel of weight loss and the life after being fat, I guess.
Awesome. So, when I asked in the Facebook group if anybody would be interested, what made you decide that you wanted to come and tell your story?
Well, first and foremost, just out of support from another person kind of putting themselves out there to get the message across, but also because really I think that a lot of us suffer in silence as far as being men, being big guys, being overweight or fat guys. We really need to talk more. We need to have an open dialogue and conversation, and we need to be comfortable doing it. So when you came, when you put that post up, you can almost tell it's like you felt awkward for doing it, but you were doing it anyway because it's part of you putting yourself out there. But no, I thought what you were doing, it sounded fantastic, and any way I can help someone else out there that's struggling, that needs some guidance or needs some positive energy or positive words, I want to help out.
I'll talk about your YouTube real quick. I went through and I watched a couple of your videos, and I really enjoyed what you're doing as well. I can't remember the term you used, but it was for the bathroom.
Oh yeah, I said I was a registered poopologist. In my life and in my family, you know, of course, everyone openly talks about going to the restroom a little too much, if you ask me. But my whole thing is that, you know, I think your body a lot of times is tied into your need to relieve yourself in that manner, right? A lot of times, you know, if you have a headache, it's probably because you have to poop, right? Or, you know, sometimes I can't sleep. It's like, well, I probably got to poop. So it was always a running joke in my family that I was a registered poopologist because no matter what the situation was, it was my answer to it for a period of time was like, yeah, you probably needed to take it up.
We'll get into the weight loss. You said you're down 80 pounds, correct?
Correct.
All right. So, what was your highest weight? And I guess where are you now?
So my highest weight, well, I really don't know because I stopped weighing myself for so long. And then I thought I was getting healthy. I have sleep apnea, and part of me turning 40 was kind of going through the great Adam Fix Me plan, right? So I went and got a new sleep apnea doctor that because the one I had, I didn't really care for the staff and the service level of service I was getting. So I went to this new doctor, and he weighed me in, and I was at 360, and my jaw hit the floor. I'm like, there's no way I can be 360. Then I weighed myself again, and sure enough, it was there. So that was the highest. The lowest I got was like 276, and then I usually kind of float around like 280, 281, depending on holidays. This morning after my ride, I was about 283.
So was that the turning point when you saw that on the scale? Was that when you decided?
No, that was kind of the beginning of it, though. I mean, like, so I mean, growing up, I always played sports. I always thought myself of a pretty fit person, pretty mobile person. I mean, I'm a short, round guy with no neck, so I always had that chip on my shoulder to be a varsity athlete, or try anything, do anything kind of guy. But that really wasn't. That was an eye-opening experience, and I started doing research about weight loss and when the best time to do it was. But it wasn't until months later that I really had that bottoming out, so to say. And to kind of back up a little bit too with my size. I dealt with some personal loss, and instead of talking about it, I really found food and alcohol and soda to kind of cope with that stuff. That's where I got to that point. But when I hit rock bottom, and when I decided today is the day I'm finally going to get change, is when I got up to go to the restroom from my office, and I tore my meniscus, and I almost fell down. And I walked it off for like 3 or 4 weeks until my wife put her foot down. She said, "Go to the damn doctor already." So I found this really awesome orthopedic surgeon that my buddy went to. The guy doesn't sugarcoat things, and I had X-rays and an MRI, and I went in for my consultation. He's like, "All right, Adam, here's the good news. The good news is you tore your meniscus." I'm like, "That's the good news?" He's like, "Yep, you had a full tear and two partial tears. The bad news is you're fat." He said it just like that, just dead in my eyes. I'm like, "Holy crap." He's like, "You're fat, and here's even the worst part. The whole outside of my knee was bone on bone." And he asked me at the time, he's like, "How old are you?" I'm like, "Just turned 40." He's like, "Well, if you don't change your ways today, you're going to be back in my office in a year getting a whole new knee." And I was like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, it's that severe." I mean, he had the literal and physical come to Jesus talk to me with me. And that put me in a spiral. I mean, he also suggested that he had a non-surgical weight loss doctor he wanted me to talk to, and I blew that off. I'm like, I can do this on my own. But then I went to kind of the downward spiral, and I started thinking to myself, just like you mentioned in your podcast as well. I started thinking about my own mortality. I'm like, holy crap, I'm that dad, that husband, that dad in a sitcom it's a lovable, huggable guy that just one day has a heart attack and dies. Um, so part of my knee rehab, I had to do 30 minutes of cardio every day. So I started riding a bike, and I started, cutting out um, sugary things and soft drinks and fried foods, and kind of going down that path. And I had lost like 20, 25 pounds of my own. And then I was cutting out more calories and eating better, but I started gaining weight. And I was like, something's off. So I call my knee doctor up. I'm like, all right, who's the name of that? What's the name of that doctor, that non-surgical weight loss doctor you want me to talk to? And he gave me the information, hung up with them, called her up, and made an appointment for as soon as they can get me in. I went in. I'm like, I want the works. Give me every test, let's do it all. Let's find out what's wrong with me. Um, and then we did. Luckily for me, all the hard work I've been doing, working out, I had a really healthy heart. I had no A1C, but I had no issues with A1C. But for me, my triglycerides were like double, if not almost triple, what a normal person's would be. But other categories that are associated to that weren't affected by that. So that was like a genetic anomaly, she said. But then because of my size, because of my belly fat, my testosterone was basically non-existent. And then I was like pre-diabetic. So she's like, that was it. I had like 4 pages of blood work. I still have it somewhere. But so I'm like, all right, what's the plan? She's like, well, you're definitely a candidate for, you know, basically any weight loss drug you want to be on. I'm like, okay, well, what does that mean? It's like, okay, well, there was a shot, and then that ended up being super expensive and something I didn't want to invest like $1,200 a month in because of my insurance at the time. But she ended up prescribing phentermine for me, just as kind of like an appetite suppressant a little bit. It kind of curbs your snacking, your cravings. And then I was also taking Vasipa to help with the triglycerides. So and that doctor as well, she has like dietitians, and she has physical people there to help you with like meal planning and workout planning and stuff like that. But as stubborn as I am, I just kind of said, thanks for the drugs. I'll see you next month, because part of her prescribing medication was to commit to monthly visits and quarterly physicals. Went and got my prescriptions filled, and I said, okay, this is it. It's now or never. This is the one chance I'm gonna have to actually do this. And finally, after decades of trying to out train a bad diet or fad dieting, this is the one chance I'm going to a doctor, and I said I needed help, and this is the chance I have to finally lose the weight.
I have the same experience when there was one issue and then it kind of just unfolded into a bunch of stuff for you, which is, I mean, in terms a great thing because where you're at now. So
Right.
what do you do now? Like, as for eating, what are your eating habits like, and what do you exercise? What do you do to keep at it?
Yeah. Well, and when people ask me that nonchalantly, I generally joke around and I usually say hookers and blow. But in all reality, so during the weight loss process, I listened to a lot of podcasts. I did tons and tons of research about like my body type and my genetic heritage being mostly Eastern European and Irish and German, and what kind of diets and everything were going to kind of work for me. Um, so what I started doing was I wanted to get up in the morning and do like a fasted workout. And I'd already been doing that before, but I did a combination of like a fasted workout, intermittent fasting, and kind of like a keto-esque diet. And that's what really got me down. Now what I do is I get up every morning. I do at least 20 miles on my bike. I get up, I literally get up, go to the bathroom, eat a banana, take a pre-workout, and then hop on my bike. And then I'm gone for about an hour and 20 minutes, maybe hour and a half sometimes. And then I come in and I get showered and dressed, take my kids to school, and then I get back home since I'm working from home right now. And I start logging in, and I try to maintain that kind of still a little bit of the intermittent fasting, even though I've already technically broken fast with the banana and stuff like that. But I'll grab like a protein bar on the way out to drop my kids off, and when I come back in, I'll have something light. A lot of times I'll have like some eggs and like half an avocado and some cottage cheese as a quick meal. But all in all, I really try to keep it to just about a couple thousand calories a day, so like about 2,000 calories a day. But I during my weight loss and the year after that, I was so hardcore at tracking everything on my fitness pal. I kind of know what I need and what I don't need right now, but I still have the apps, and I still will track things at times when I think I'm getting off. If I feel like I'm heavy, if I feel like I'm sluggish, I'll start tracking again to get myself kind of retuned into the better eating habits.
Do you plan on losing more weight, putting on muscle, or is this where you want to be?
No, I think it's kind of like one of those. It's a life's work type deal. Right now at the 280, I mean that's I'm very comfortable at that weight, 280, 285. It's kind of my body's default weight, I think. This year for 2021, I do have plans. I'm doing an endurance cycling challenge, which I never thought I'd be that guy, but I am. But I also plan on incorporating more weightlifting. I used to do a lot of powerlifting before. I really miss it. But I plan on slowly integrating that into my training schedule. But I would like to lose another like probably 20, 30 pounds. I mean, if I get down to 250, I'll be like super trim, Adam. But I haven't seen 250 since I think like maybe high school or college.
I talked to you about it a little bit before we started recording, where I've lost so much weight over the past years, and I got down to 280, and I absolutely loved that. I really want to go for that again. Like I was super happy, and I felt good, and I looked good. I mean, I feel like it's a good way. I know we talked about, like, if you look at the chart for your age, your height, and your weight, we're still not where the doctors want us.
Well, I think that, two things. One, I mean, I really stopped caring about the chart as soon as my doctor told me that all my blood work came back in range, and then I was medically perfectly healthy. So I wouldn't let the BMI, as we talked about before, even play with your head. But if 280 is your goal, one thing that worked for me during my process is that every time I set a goal, like let's say it's the number 280, I would print out like a bunch of the numbers from my computer, right? And I just stick them everywhere. Like I'd stick a 280 on my fridge or stick a 280 on the door. Yeah, at the time I kept a lot of stuff in my office because I was working a ton, but I had that on my whiteboard. I just had a number. So every time I looked up, it was staring me in the face. And that's one thing that like kind of like quick visual motivations is something I'm always seeing. And it really helped kind of keep me on track when I wanted to go grab some candy from my boss's desk or that kind of stuff.
That's really awesome. I'm gonna do that actually. I talked with my wife about printing off pictures of my heaviest, but I also like that goal weight. Put that
Yeah.
all over.
Well, yeah, do that with anything, man. Like if it's like, for me, yeah, I justified shopping at Destination XL. DXL is a fantastic place, man. I love their clothes. I still fit in the smallest sizes and a couple other things that I'll buy from there, but like I wanted to stop shopping at those stores. So I would think about that too. I'd print off stuff, things I want to do, right? And then now that I'm on the flip side of it, there's so many other things that I could have motivated myself with. Like I'm now able to, as I'm driving down the road, like reach down to the floorboards of my SUV and pick stuff off the floorboard, right? I didn't think, before I had to literally stop the car and get out and walk around to get something. Now I can just grab it. Or I can put my belt on without taking, before I'd have to put my belt on my pants and then put my pants on. And I can do that. Or I can put socks on standing up, which was a huge accomplishment.
Man, those are some of my goals. I cannot wait to not, with the belt or the tie-in of the shoes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like those little things, you don't really think about it till afterwards, but
Right. It's all of a sudden like life is easy. You're like, whoa. Or like, wait, I'm not sure if I used to fly a lot for work. It's like I get to the point where I wasn't even embarrassed to ask for the extender on the airplanes. Or, I make sure I always booked a window seat towards the back of the plane, hoping no one would sit next to me so I could have the armrest up. But as soon as I would walk on a plane, I'd be like, yep, need an extender just to give you a heads up. But now it doesn't matter anymore. I'm still pretty broad shouldered, but other than that, I mean, as far as the gut and the space I need for that, it's a non-issue.
how do you keep yourself on track? Like say on days you don't want to go ride your bike or on days that you want to eat junk food all day long or those, Reese's or candy or whatever.
Um, you know, I'm kind of at the point where I feel like I have enough self-control that if I want to give into urges, I do. But because I stay so on track, like 99% of the time, when I do go off the rails, I literally feel it. Like I feel like shit. Not like mentally like beating myself up. Like my body hurts. Um like my biggest thing when I was first losing the weight, the first 3 months I went super clean, and it was a gradual thing, kind of like when you're teaching a baby how to eat. I started like every week I remove something, and it kind of helped ramp up my weight loss. But after I hit my stride after 3 months and I had lost like 35 pounds, I went out and got I went to a Dairy Queen because I wanted a Blizzard, and they had this chicken fried steak sandwich. And I went and got a Coke and the chicken fried steak sandwich and fries, and I got a Blizzard, and I ate it all. And literally for 2 days, my joints hurt. Like my elbows and my knees hurt from how much crap I ate. So that's one of the things that helps me is like every once in a while I will indulge, right, and my body quickly lets me know by the aches and pains. And of course, getting back to what we talked about, the registered poopologist in the restroom, it's not fun to expel that stuff either. But day in day out, staying motivated. I mean, my wife and kids are my main motivation. My son's 4, my daughter's just about to be 8 months. So running, it's really nice to be able to run around with him and take him on bike rides and stuff like that.
So when you were losing the weight, I'm sure there were times where you might have screwed up or you ate something you shouldn't have or went off your diet. If you did, how did you combat that? Like what did you do when you'd had those bad days?
Well, really, for me, you just kind of had to get back on the horse. I mean, the thing about it, so what I would do is I would do 6 days on, 1 day off, as far as my diet goes, right? So for me, I started everything on a Sunday. So Sundays I went for a big workout or a big ride, and I did meal prepping, meal planning, and then I went hardcore through the week. And then Saturdays, was my cheat day, whether it's fast food or beer or whatever. I had that day, but during my other days when I was trying to be clean, um, if it happened, it happened, right? I didn't beat myself up about it. I just got back on track next day, and that really kind of I allowed myself those slip ups. But what I also did to kind of put myself out there because I wanted it to work for me this time, I started doing accountability posts every Friday on my Instagram account. So at my AdRock78 on Instagram, every Friday I used to take a picture of my scale, and then of course I got endless crap from my friends about it for posting my feet and my scale number, but it was like, okay, every single Friday I'm going to do this. I'm going to get up, I'm going to go to the bathroom, I'm going to go work out, and after I work out, I'm going to weigh myself and I'm going to post the weight without fail. And that was one thing for me that was a driving force. That, and I was going to my doctor once a month for checkups and check-ins about my weight loss and stuff like that. So I had a lot of I forced myself to be even more accountable than I needed to be, so I would be accountable to myself. um, and that's really kind of, I guess, really kind of what would bring me back. It's like, oh crap, I have to post my picture on Friday, or oh crap, I have to go see Dr. Desai in 2 weeks. I better get back into it.
I can relate to that. Last week when I put out the podcast, I didn't eat as good as I should have. And when I did my weigh in, I only had lost 1 pound, which 1 pound is still a loss. But before I did the weigh in, I was angry with myself. Then I kind of reeled it back in and was like, you know what? It's done. It is a loss. And what can I do about it now? So just truck on. This week, I haven't done my weigh in yet, but I've lost 4 pounds this week. So I'm okay with that. Last week.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I mean, and that's the crazy thing about it. I mean, and you and I talked offline about not being at pictures, and we talked about it in any other podcast. But for me, one thing that one of my friends brought to my attention was how much weight I had lost in my feet over the period. Right. So I didn't start posting until I was like 331 when I started posting the pictures. But if you look at the Instagram and go from that page to my most recent one, my feet have actually gotten smaller. Shoes fit better for sure, but especially after I come home from bike riding or whatever, I'm definitely a lot more vascular in my feet. It's been a very interesting experience to see that, and to see the weight loss coming off in different areas, and seeing yourself in different pictures. And I've even had situations where I've seen a picture, I'm like, holy crap, that's me. That's awesome.
So if you had one single piece of advice that you find the most important that you could share with others that the same kind of struggles that you had, what would that piece of advice be?
Oh, there's so much. I'm not sure if I can just get one piece of advice. I would say that, man, it's hard. I'm choose one, but I would say that you're not alone. You're not alone in this struggle. Everyone, I mean, everyone's facing their own demons, right? But I think that, like I said earlier in our conversation, that there's been this stigma for men not to talk about their struggles. And I'd say that, you know, people need to know they're not alone in this. There's millions of other men out there that are, or women that are facing their own weight struggles, right? I mean, everyone has their own issues, whether it's food addiction or, other body image related things. But I think the more we talk about it, the better. So I'd say, let those people know they're not alone. Get a good village around you, whether it's finding support groups, how we met through, or podcasts listens to. There's resources out there. But I think that, like you and I had talked before, it's really great to have someone like yourself, or hopefully me, that can inspire other men and women to take this journey seriously and to reach out to us, because there are people like us that know the struggles and have had success in losing weight, and then are openly talking about it. So But other than that, I guess another good piece of advice is find a really good doctor that you trust, that you know and trust. For me, it happened to be Dr. Desai, being a non-surgical weight loss doctor. Confide in them, be 100% brutally honest with them about your eating habits and what you've been doing, what you haven't been doing. Get your physical, go through that self-discovery, and then make a plan and get yourself fixed. It's a lot of one things, but yeah.
This time that I've tried to lose the weight, I went to a doctor. I was waking up with headaches, so I knew I had some kind of sleep apnea going on. My wife mentioned that, I quit breathing. So I was like, well, I got to go to the doctor. So I went to the doctor, got it all scheduled up, and I stepped on the scale and I was, as heavy as I've ever been. I got blood work done. I did some other tests, and I go back this month, and I'm really excited just to see the difference from even September till now.
And you're on a CPAP?
I did get put on one, but I haven't received it yet. They wrote the script.
Oh, dude, get it. Follow up on that, man. That CPAP for me was a game changer. It's weird at first. Like for me, they wanted me to use the humidifier. I ditched that after the first night because I felt like I was getting waterboarded. I felt like I was suffocating. But once you get used to the pressure of air coming through, and you get an actual good night's sleep for the first time in probably forever, it's amazing. You will actually lose weight just by being able to sleep.
I talked to you about it before, the binge eating. And my doctor said, maybe it's from not getting a full night's sleep, and that could trigger into a binge. So I'm excited about getting it.
Yeah, I mean, it's honestly, your doctor could be 100% right. The thing about sleep apnea that's crazy is that even though you're physically sleeping, your brain's not, right. Your brain doesn't allow your body to fully get into the 2 stages of REM sleep. That's when your body repairs itself and truly rests and regenerates. And so what happens is we're already bigger, and then when you develop sleep apnea, and then you never truly sleep, so then you start gaining more weight, so the apnea gets worse. So you gain more weight, so the apnea gets worse, and so on and so forth. And for me, I was in complete denial about that. And it wasn't until I was driving down a road and I woke up driving like 70 miles an hour in the grassy median where I was like, holy shit, I need to get checked out.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean, I'm a stubborn guy, but I mean, now that I've I'm on the other side of this, I'm like, I can't believe how dumb I was. But trust me, man, once you get that CPAP, I'm not sure if you're getting a full face mask or a nasal pillow, but once you get used to it, man, like it's amazing. Like they're tiny, they can travel with you really easily, and there's no excuse not to wear it. And then plus you'll feel so much better. I mean, everything will start getting easier because you can breathe and sleep. And for me, I also I have severe allergies too. So that's my same doctor, my sleep apnea doctor was he told me he changed the way I took my allergy medicine. I was taking them all in the morning. He's like, no, 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 no. You want to take that all at night. So I take Flonase and Zysol before I go to bed. It opens everything up, so I sleep even better with the CPAP on.
All right. So if somebody hears this podcast and they want to reach out to you, where would they go? Can you give us your YouTube and your Instagram handles and all that?
I try to post everything everywhere. So if you go, it's at Fat to Chubby for Facebook, for YouTube, anything Fat to Chubby, you should be able to find me there. But if you want the exact handles, it's youtube.com/abart78, at Fat to Chubby at Facebook, either at adrock78 or at fat_2_chubby on Instagram. So, and I'm working on the website too, fattochubby.com.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you coming on and, talking to me a little bit. I'd love to have you back again some other time.
Yeah, man. No problem. Hey, I appreciate you having me, man. And likewise, I'm definitely down to do this again.
All right. Well, I will end it there. I guess I'll see you next time.
All right, man. Take care of yourself.
Adam, I appreciate you taking time out of your day and telling me a little bit about your story. I really enjoyed it. I hope everybody else enjoyed it as well. Please go subscribe and follow his journey on Instagram and YouTube. The The links will be in the description of this episode. I'm going to do a quick weigh-in. Last week I only lost a pound, and this week I am down to 374. So I've lost 4 pounds this week. I'm really excited about that. And if you enjoyed it, please subscribe, share the podcast, and leave me a review. As always, you can reach out to me on luke.loses on Instagram or lukeloses@gmail.com. Thanks again for listening. Trust the process, do the work, and I'll see you next week.